Welcome back to Yildiz Readings 5D, your esoteric tools online that help you move through your path. Now, for those of you that don't know, I'm Yildiz from Yildiz Readings. I am a psychic medium, intuitive astrologer, soul coach, etc. Now, we are going to look at the energy that's coming up for you, Divine Feminine. I do find this reading really interesting. If you do want to book in, you can go to the link directly below. Otherwise, we're going to get straight into it. Now, the first thing I noticed, as usual, was your crowning energy. And I sat with this for a bit, and we're going to just, have a look at this read. And I do see a few circumstances kind of playing out here. Now, first, your mindset's going to be super key. And, for a lot of you, if you've had these moments, especially in your twin flame path with people, places, and things, and you don't quite know what is real, which is a huge subject that's playing out in the collective to do with, how could we put it, the deep fake. It's quite natural that those polarities are actually coming about at that time. In our own personal lives as well as in social media, for instance. So for those of you that do not see my face, that will be coming back on screen, quite unchopped, unedited, sometimes even live. But I will directly specify inside my videos if I do use AI. Separately, this does relate to you. And the reason why I'm saying it is because this is coming up in your mind's eye and you're like, okay, I need to be aware. But why? Now, this is the question I asked myself relating to your reading. Because as I was scrolling through, I'm like, the confusion of the past. You've got two energies here relating to a connection. One to do with separation, one to do with the connection. This could be two people, two ways, two paths. Could be the same individual. Do I stay or do I go? Go down to the foundation because we're going to bring this full circle. And there is a rebirth here. Now, the concern could be if I do not pick the right direction, if I don't do this the right way, my heart, because the green is the heart chakra, a bit of that was coming up at the beginning of the month. With the moon in Leo, we might have had to have cleared some things, self-esteem, confidence, courage, the courage to be ourselves, especially with Saturn and Neptune and Aries. And, as we're moving through this, we are having a rebirth and we're meditating upon these things. There could be some circumstances that popped off right away. And then there could be direct side swipe moves where we're going, okay, is this an over the board thing? It could very well be because we also have the collective consciousness. Or is this something very personal in your own life? I think it's a bit of both. Now, as you're going through this, what I need you to be aware of is where you came from, okay? So because of the confusion that we moved away from, and there were things that, you didn't have the tools for, you didn't have the key, no matter what you did, it just wasn't fitting, it wasn't working. 2026 is a slight mix of last year with hurrahs and goodbyes and a brand new beginning. Now, sometimes, how do we get out of dodge? Especially in all my years of coaching, I also, in my own journey, on my twin flame path, on my awakened path, all the way back from 2012 and beyond, what I can actually say from personal experience is you do tend to come to a point where you go, I've tried everything but X, Y, and Z. And so when you get to that, 9 times out of 10, you are going to try things differently. Sometimes it can be doing nothing at all. Sometimes it can be revelations of enabling. Whatever this circumstance is, at that point, you did not find the key, okay? So things weren't fitting, things weren't working, you were coming up against obstacles. Due to that, say we got PTSD, and like, heck, I haven't had the greatest of luck. Sometimes maybe you did with karmics or soulmates, but you might not have had it with this person. Sometimes you didn't with karmics and soulmates, but more so with this person, even though maybe it wasn't permanent. So it's caused friction and tension when you're looking at the past and you're in the here and now and you're like, okay, there's an emptiness in the heart space. There is a, why did that not come full circle? Now, for some of you, it might be the things that have taken from you, the things that didn't quite go through, the things that ended. And again, I do reiterate, this is over the board. It's not just one subject. This will relate to relationships, but I also do get a very strong signature that it is to do with point blank zero in general. Okay. Now, in general, the reasons why you are showing up like this, there's going to be an offer. Okay. There's going to be a line in the sand and a choice. And sometimes we do not have choices. We know this because a hand is forced and circumstances change. For some of you, this can be two people. For some of this, it's the old saying goes, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. Oh, that can sometimes be true, but sometimes not. Regardless, I think this is very much something to do with you. There's an element of apprehension. So far to date, this and that has not changed, e.g. For some of you, you could be getting word of a status change with a love interest. And it could be bringing up subjects for you. For others of you, this can be, unless this person is single, how would this be? Some of you also can be saying, I want connection, I don't want the tag. So it's a mixed bag at the moment. But again, the way the message is coming through is more the mind's entanglement of processing the past, the present, and the fair-based frequency. And I think they're coming full circle. You are having a brand new chapter here, and there's almost this vibration of, oh my gosh, I'm not protected, I'm not safe. We have the angel here in reverse. And sometimes it could be when we feel that we're super nice, everyone walks over us. So the angel effectively in this predicament, in this circumstance, can be you, divine feminine. You're like, look, I go in, I'm a good person. I heard a swear word in that. I'm a good, see, I go in, I do the right thing, but no matter what, I get taken the wrong way, I get misunderstood. I don't want drama. Okay. I don't want drama. There is a different way you're going to deal with things. Sometimes the hard part is not having the details. Sometimes instead of us realizing what the circumstance was or is, we're believing it's somehow we've done something wrong. And sometimes you've done nothing wrong at all. It is that timing factor. Now, there is a new chapter here. We're going to go on to clarify. I first had to get that bit out because I felt it was very important. Okay, why is this coming about? What is the caution coming up for divine feminine in the mind's eye? Yeah, this is to do with relationships in general. This can be something that's really weighing on your mind. For some of you, yes, like I mentioned previously, it could be to do with the breakdown of karmic relationship. It might be an offer that's coming through. And I think over the board, you're looking at relationships point blank, the benefits and the detriments. Things weren't working in the past. Now, the funny thing is, if you look at life as an ecosystem, when there's no rain, things don't grow, e.g. And when I give you these metaphors, it's because your guides are actually speaking in riddles. They're saying what didn't work in the past might have been due to environmental subjects, people, places, things, jobs, etc. Something in that also gave you a skill. You might have been requiring a level up, but circumstances, places, people, things were causing blockages, and that was occurring on both sides. Regardless, both parties here, even if you do not believe it, were doing the work and feeling like they were beating their head against a wall. Both parties. Personal circumstances, frustrations, sacrifices that were made, misunderstandings. And the funny thing is, on both the clarifiers in your life, divine feminine, and your counterparts, this also could be separately to do with another person, but I'm getting loudly to do with counterpart. Both of you have a red symbolism coming through. That is foundation. Now, when we get foundation, base chakra, it can be to do with family, your living environment, and what the circumstance is or was, right? That wasn't changing. The thing is, sometimes we move into this facet of believing that it's going to be like that forever, and nothing ever stays the same forever. Not a river, not the sky. 1 minute a cloud will be left, then it'll be right, then it's gone, and then it's sunshine. So things don't remain the same. Now, as for your counterpart, they have been pondering this process themselves, quite heavily so. Sometimes they have held insecurities that you do not think about them. Sometimes they think, due to the blockages they've had in their life, that it has caused that much conflict that it is unrepairable. And sometimes, Divine Feminine, you're thinking this person has completely forgotten you. And because of that, you need to let go. Some of the letting go was to do with the emotions. So that, and they're showing me this very clearly. They're saying that when you're coming to terms with the past, it can almost feel like it's died. And, you might have noticed this in a pattern, that as soon as you psychologically have come to terms with it and chosen to move forward, the person's resurfaced. Now, they're giving that as an example, and they're saying there is a key to that. Okay, look back to the key. Well, I've got that in the past position. Trust me, this is where I got to on my path. It's like, I had this kind of revelation one day. I was like, why is it I get all super, vigilante, and I'm like, nah, I'm on hyperdrive. No one's coming near me. I'm looking. I'm protecting my heart. I open my heart, gets tromped on. Looking back at the key. Realizing separation, moving into that, maybe for sometimes moving into a different direction, going into a relationship. Sometimes we even have this belief system. It's like, great, if I get into a relationship, I'm going to get a phone call. So, the thing is, there's a few things happening, right? A is in the beware energy. We are super acutely aware that we are healing. That's one. Okay. The other is the acknowledgement that trauma occurred. Number two. Number three is the only reason you would believe this is if you still had unresolved feelings for them. Because in theory, if this was all closed, A, you wouldn't look at one of these readings. B, you also would not get to a point, and this is from personal experience, I'm speaking as well, you wouldn't look at it and go, well, if I move forward, generally, if you've got to the you're moving forward, you've done a lot of healing on yourself. You've opened up, you're in acceptance of what happened in the past. And that is one key factor that has to occur. Acceptance does not mean everything that occurred in the past was fancy, dancy, great, and with ethics. Does that make sense? So when you hear a tarot reader, a channeling, and they're saying accept, sometimes we can be deeply insulted because we're like, accept? Hell no, am I going to accept that? That behavior was unacceptable. And 100% that is true. But the acceptance is more to do with the closure. It's like, wow, okay, maybe I didn't get an apology. Maybe I did not have the closure and understanding and comprehension of why the person behaved in a certain fashion. But 9 times out of 10, it is going to come through in your own personal life, and you will have a personal experience and look back in hindsight and go, I see a bit of my shadow inside of my counterpart, and I know that I didn't maliciously go into a situation. There was maybe expectations from other people around me, and I knew what I wanted, but maybe there was various reasons. You get my gist. A, if you are in love with this person, you can't fake it to universe. B, if you are healing, it is very natural to feel apprehensive. Do you want to move forward? Acceptance does not mean you are reporting defeat to your guides. You are merely moving into a vibration of stillness and acceptance of going, hey, the key, guess what? I didn't find the key back then. Maybe I never will know what it is. But where I am today, I have my armor involved. I have my mind. I have my healing. I have my heart. And I have an open-mindedness that universe will bring me fruit off the tree that is ripe and ready for picking, and it is less work. Why is it less work? Because when we're enabling people or waiting for them, like the hangman and tarot, we can say we can be strong. I even referenced the strong point with the sibling the other day. And, I looked at the birth chart and she goes, yeah, I get, I'll be strong. And I said, it's funny. We hold vibrations in words. And, if you were to ask a person, what does strong mean? Sometimes that reference point can mean, I'll grit it and bear it and I'll survive. And strong also can come through adversity you've lived in your life and the skills you learn that bring you to this space of awareness, that you can sniff out a problem and you won't judge it. You'll look at it and go, oh, sweetheart, I love you, but you are still dealing with a karmic situation. And I know it's testing, but when you're sick of it, you will leave that situation. And, the awareness that cycles and things change, but what we grip onto, if they're not meant to be, they do move. So you'll be that understanding empath energy looking in at it. You do have unity coming here, divine feminine. So there's a mixed bag of frequency that you're moving through. There's a mixed way that you're addressing these things. And from the foundation level, you may believe I need to sacrifice in order to get something. And I don't feel so. I feel if that is the way you're viewing it, maybe what you're sacrificing for isn't the correct thing. What do I mean by that? Sometimes it can be admitting defeat when this reading is not about defeat. This reading is about going backwards to look at what worked. We find what worked by looking at what didn't work, because it's a little bit like a process of elimination. So, with this past position, the key, your mindset, and hypervigilante is like, nothing worked. Oh my God, it's always going to be the same. Okay, the key. Let's look back at that. What didn't work was one way not to do it again. So what theoretically we haven't tried is something different. And by doing something different, you'll get a bit of PTSD. You'll move into the, oh crap, if I do this different, what if that doesn't work either? You're not going to know till we try. So the universe is saying, you didn't find it because of the way it was being done. Sometimes that is to do with timing. The heart healing, maybe you would have come together, but both parties were still healing. So it felt messy and burdensome and you were projecting towards each other. The heart is the key. So by healing it, you're open to new potentials. You're in your awareness, but you're not letting your mind override you, fear-based frequency, controlling and running and, fighting. You're in awareness mode. Something back here is going to give you a solution to this. I do think you're going to get some information through the grapevine. And by doing it differently, the way you didn't do it before, sometimes it's not doing anything at all. Sometimes it is reacting to offers, responses, relationships in a different way to get a different outcome. Relaxing, allowing things to come to you. Not necessarily, I need to sacrifice in order to get that. Many times when we talk about manifestation, we can say, I've got to get a board and I've got to put it down. In your heart, the heart's the key with everything. In your heart, if you believe you are deserving of something, it will come towards you. If you know, I remember one point in my journey, I was alone, I was single, I went through to Phuket. It was a little bit like Eat, Pray, Love. I went on my own. I bought a bunch of spiritual books. I won't get into the reason why I went there. But regardless, my mindset and a lot of the healing I was moving through was very much psychological. Initially moving into it like my old life was dying. Secondary, moving into it like I wanted to mentally get out of my own way and I wanted to believe in myself. I wanted to move into that manifestation, especially because I'm very psychic in nature. Many times I would have the predictions and signs given to me and always wondered, could we foresee for ourselves? And yes, you actually can, but you need less ego to be able to do that. You need to almost be like a fly on the wall to channel your energy. And 9 times out of 10, how they can come through initially, if you haven't trained yourself, is through your dream state. Why? Is because your ego is out of the way. It's tucked away in bed. You'll bring a signature of a problem to the table, you'll go to sleep, and your subconscious mind will go through the ethers back down into you and give you a message in a bottle. And you can wake up like, I never thought of it that way. Because the ego is uninvolved in that situation. So you need to be a fly on the wall to channel yourself. You will know. And 9 times out of 10, if your ego is getting involved, you'll start re-seeing numbers, okay? But we will do content to do with that. So here we have you going, okay, now, do I need to make a sacrifice? No. A lot of sacrifices you have made. Sometimes it can be some patience. Your guides do have your back, I will tell you that. But the sacrifices are going to give you rewards, but I feel it's more of what you gave in the past. Now, I do feel you are going to know what is good and what is bad, what is right and what is wrong, what is correct for you. And also kind of moving away from the devil energy, moving away from patterns. There's rebirth here. This rebirth is a new beginning. And it is in the realm of wealth, money, love, body, your world, the way you operate, how your previous skills can be used in all facets of life. I think this is a very important read for you, Divine Feminine. Now, don't forget to have a look at the masculine, feminine karmic. We do these weekly. And if you do want the joint reading, you can go through and book your session online so we can check in with your energy directly. Separately, a lot of these are pre-released. You can see these through Sage and the Circle Network. And we do have the sign-up page directly at Yildiz Readings 5D. So if you visit our website, you can be taken to the link directly below, and we will have the direct landing page for the network. Otherwise, we will see you next week, and tell us how this read relates to you. I'd love to hear your feedback.